I gotta say, like, that is about the most interesting part of synthetic oil. You can't actually make synthetic. Make synthetic be a brick. That's pretty clean. Synthetic oil is mainly the overproduction of corn oil or any oils, and they just throw them in, and you get a little bottle like that. As far as why vehicles leak, was another complaint. My vehicle is leaking oil. Well, stop putting vegetable oil in your vehicle. You need a 30, 40, or 20 oil to actually put in your vehicle. Where I'd go with the 40 more than I would any other oil. When you use a straight number and not a 10W number, you kind of tend to learn what you're buying. Because they call it 10 weight 30. If it was 10 weight 30, then you would know what that means. But I know someone else did something else. And if you have a W in your name, some like to put their name there after the W, which gives them a chance, well, what they believe at a chance of doing something and whatnot. So I found some irregularities with oil. And how you do it is, if you think you got someone pissing around with your oil and you have it unseen, and when I say unseen, it means that someone is trying to steal oil from you by sorcery, prophecy, or anything of that sort. MGC, magic, is normally they'll say their middle name after that, and they'll take all your oil. At least what appears to be that they'll take all your oil. What happens is the continuity tends to go in there. If you know what continuity is if you ever found a vehicle that has cotton in the gas tank and it's not from the pump or the filter, and it's all filled with like sand and stuff, that's normally like the big problem. People's vehicles filling up with sand in around a place where there's a lot of sand. There's a word that starts with W that is pretty close to being that of sand. As far as it working, it doesn't feel pressure on your head. That's more than likely someone doing something stupid. Anyway, let's get back to talking about oil. Someone asked me, is this a true 1030? If you had a 1030, you'd be using 1030 of the oil. And what that means is it's not a weight, it's not a classification. It's the thinness of when you take oil onto a glass plate used in a laboratory, and you set it out. And you take a drop and you put a drop on that glass and just let the oil go anywhere it wants to go until it's done going anywhere. And then you take a different type of, not ruler, but measuring device, and you kind of get to see how thin it is. As far as a 10W30, I would get rid of the 1010s, 10W10s, and I'd get rid of the 10W50s, all the way up to 10W50s. They're just a little too thin. As far as keeping a 1010, because some say, oh, a 10W30 is different than a 1050. Well, if you're saying that it's 1050 of the weight of it, then you would learn that it's more likely not readable. Because most of it is, they measure the glass and they'll go, oh, it's 150 millimeters. So measure the glass. If it's under what they call 1 millimeter, then you take it down even farther. And 1 millimeter stands for 1 million, not 1 meter. So when you get down that far, I mean, you take the width of the glass and you measure it. So if you come up with, let's say, 250 millimeters on the glass, which really isn't much, and then you measure the overage, so you get the overage at 2 millimeters, and it's somewhere around the graduation, by non-graduation, the count, I think the count was, when it was measured, it was so far into the billions that it was or the millions, it was so ridiculous, just so thin. But the easy way to do this is to try to get an idea of what you're selling. Is normally they call it thick oil, they call it thin oil. It has no W in the middle of it. To explain what they're using, 1030 millimeters to the negative, or you get to the 10W, a negative 30, where the negative would be negative in the SAE, negative 10W30, standing for some type of accountability of thinness versus weight. But at the same time, I run a 30, I know I'm going to run a 1030, so I'm actually going to a 40 weight, straight 40 weight, which there's a difference. If you go to 1030, you may have like vegetable oil, or you may have corn oil mixed in to thin it out or to make it thicker. All I ever did was take sodium water, mainly baking soda, and how you do it is you turn the baking soda into a liquid. It takes a while, and then you dump it, say in a barrel, an ounce, and then you stir it up. It'll get to a certain point of being so thick, which I think it was 2.15 ounces. What you have to do for a drum barrel, a full-size drum barrel, to thicken oil up. And most people are like, oh, what's the black? That's what it is. If you're dumping anything over 2 ounces into what they call the reservoir, or dilute erase reservoir, into a huge container of oil, then you're a moron, because you'll be there all day. Because most containers, by volume, aren't done correctly. But if you're looking for oil that stays on your engine and your pistons and all that, then you'd want to go to a 40 straight weight, or just a 40 straight, not weight. But which is I'm not even gonna try to explain this, but it's just a straight 40. It doesn't have any additives, so when you get into that, you're not adding any extras to it, not even conditioners, which there is no oil conditioner that's gonna save your freaking vehicle. I mean, you can put a drop of alcohol in it, and you're gonna learn that it'll stay in the pistons, but you have a hell of a time getting it back off, which you normally have to use vinegar water or kerosene. Come on. But as far as their explanation is really, really interesting, because to me the 10W30 don't mean nothing. So using a 10 weight thin, actually a 10 weight thick, versus a 30, and that's normally, I wouldn't even say the W is weight, but you can't say watt either. But don't even try to say width, because you got the handle on there. But a 40, I don't know, I just got done putting a 40 straight in someone's vehicle, and it seems to run better. 20 or 30, I mean, you can use a 30 in the winter, but I kind of refrain from doing that because in the winter time, if it hardens up on you, then you have to go to a thinner oil, like a 1040 to 1050, to thin it out. So it's not a hard start on you. As far as oil back then, when I know them, and when oils now, they're not even close, because I looked at a 1050 versus a 40, and the 40 felt better than the 1050, because the 1050 is 1 minute it's thin, next minute it's thick. So that shows you how much irregularity there is, because there is a difference. And normally it's not the graduation by the liter is graduation, but the thickness of what they call a 10 weight. If they're going that route, it's even dumber. If they're saying they can put 10 pounds of weight on oil, because that was the other thing I was messing with, thinking about how to tell what kind of oil you have. But unless they're trying to go the other way, and it's 1,030 pounds of the barrel they used, which is still stupid. It don't tell you what the oil is. Oh, I got 1,030 pounds. Yeah, is it thick, thin? Is it biofuel? By non-biofuel? What I mean by non-biofuel is when you get to the oil. Transmission. Transmission would be a biofuel. And a non-biofuel idea. And the reason I say that is because you can burn a biofuel, but you get a really nasty smell. Normally. But when you get into just using straight oils, I mean, you can use like a sewing oil. If you ever seen those from machines, the super clean, clear oil, non-yellow, expensive. Mainly what they call silk oil. But I mean, honestly, it's 50 instead of a 30 or 20. As far as running a 5 weight would be 530. If they're doing it by the weight of it, you wouldn't know what you got. Like 300,000 miles on synthetic oil. I can tell you how I do it, but you're not going to be happy. I take one of these, and I take the filter and I attach it to the vehicle. I use normally a pretty heavy filter, and then it runs through the vehicle, and then I detach the filter from the vehicle, and before I fill it up, and I try to get all the nasty stuff out of it the best I can by allowing it to drain. But at the same time, as far as the oil filter being needed on the vehicle, it's not needed. It just holds an extra thing of oil, and I can tell you this, that it may be nice to have it pumping at what they call 40 psi or 40 pounds of pressure, but I know it's not pushing 40 pounds of pressure. If it is, that's why your seals are gone, because I only use 20 pounds at the top, at the most, the pressure. And if you use 20 pounds, you're more likely are pretty close to blowing your gaskets. Because 20 pounds, if you want to know what 20 pounds of pressure is, take a 20-pound bag of whatever it is, preferably just cattle food, and throw it at the person who wants to know, and let it hit you. That's what they call 20 pounds of pressure. So like I said, it's more like 10 to 8 pounds of pressure, so that actually stays in the lines. But anyway, Like I said, I normally take the oil filter off, and then I'll take that and I'll put a double screen, and all it is just paper. Paper doubled up. And when I say paper, I'm talking about something of a construction-like paper used for cleaning. You see them used on aircraft. And that just filtered it up, and you take the oil filter and you dump it out just to see what's in there. But most of these filters are actually supposed to be a screw-out filter, to where you can actually unscrew where it attaches to the engine and take the center pieces out for the filter and replace it, instead of wasting metal upon metal upon metal. That's why garages are required by law to recycle anything, especially oil filters. Anyway, I take this dummy plate that has no holes and I screw it into where the oil filter was, and that's all the oil I need for that vehicle. And so I was like, well, how do you get rid of excess oil? Well, that's why you don't fill the oil pan up. Normally you can fill an oil pan at the rate of 5/8 to 3/4 and let the excess pressure go out in the oil pan. If you're really having problems with leaks, then you're going to lose a lot of oil, so you're going to want to fill 5/8. If you're filling up 5/8, you're going to want to fill up 3/4, so that you can actually get back. As far as all the idiots in the automotive industry that call themselves design engineers from way back to now, I mean, you guys don't design a damn thing, so I don't even want to hear it. But that's pretty much all I gotta say. If you don't believe me about needing an oil filter, I mean, it's pretty simple. Just go get one of those dummy filters that supposedly put your filter up on top of the engine and you can reroute it and whatnot. Because if your vehicle has that much pressure to get it up there, then you're more likely going to blow seals. Which aren't really seals, the air seals, gaskets. But I just normally take one of those and I stick a plug in, Loctite it, and stick it on the vehicle. And that's it. Fill it up with oil, and you're done. If you don't want to pay the $9 to $20 for the filter, which is ridiculous. How clean is your oil? You can take the same system that you mount the oil, your oil to remove it from the bottom of the engine to the top of the engine. Use the rubber lines. Get yourself a hand pump. And when I say a hand pump, which is very hard to get, it's a hand vacuum pump. And all you do is you stick one end in the jug, and you stick the other end in the other jug of oil you drained out, and you just run it through the filter. You don't even really need to remove that. The plug, if you buy two, as far as efficiency, it just keeps the cost down on the vehicle, and that's about it. So you just hook it up, steel lines, and move it from one jug to the other to clean up the oil, and that's about it.